Welcome to the Shelby County Humane Volunteer Orientation. We're going to talk about the history of the shelter and some of our programs and policies that we have here. My name is Meredith Dempsey. I'm the foster and volunteer coordinator here. If you have any questions about either one of those things, feel free to email me at the email address you see on the slide. I am partial to big dogs with big heads, so if I use dogs as my pet of choice when we talk about our different kind of safety policies and programs, I mean dogs and cats, not just dogs, so bear with me with that. We are a 501c3 organization founded in 1977, so we've been here for a while. Our mission is rescuing and rehoming neglected and homeless pets of Shelby County. We service Shelby County only in terms of the kind of animals that we house, so we don't take strays in from other counties, and we also don't take pets owned by residents outside of Shelby County. We do have programs that are available to members outside of county, but again, for the most part, all the pets that you see here in the shelter are pets that have belonged to or have been found in Shelby County. We provide care to well over 5,000 dogs and cats every year, and at any given time we can house 200 to 350 adoptable cats and dogs. This slide kind of mirrors the previous slide, talks about our mission here. A lot of people have a stereotypical idea of a shelter as being a place that only takes in dogs and cats that are in bad shape and nursing them back to health, and for sure that is something that we do the majority of the time. We also have other things that we do. Most of those things are facilitated by volunteers, so that's really exciting for us. We're going to get into more detail about the different programs that we have here that go beyond that normal stereotypical idea of a shelter. This slide kind of gives a snapshot of things or numbers that we've achieved within the past year or so. So you can see that we do lots of adoptions, we have lots of volunteer hours, and we also serve lots of animals through our quick fix clinic, also now known as our spay-neuter clinic. And we also transport lots of animals up north to different humane societies. This slide goes over our different programs that we offer here. We'll start with our Shelby Spay-Neuter program. That's where we can offer discount spay-neuter surgeries for pets in Shelby County and pets out of Shelby County. We've noticed a lot of success with this program, the most notable being that when we increase our number of spay-neuter clinic clients, we see a decrease in the amount of animals that are surrendered to us every year, and we feel like it's because we are making headway by preventing some of our neighboring counties and those members in Shelby County, some of their pets from producing unwanted litters. Our next program that I want to talk about is Shelby Safe Pet. This is where we offer foster homes for survivors of domestic violence. While they're trying to find safe housing, we're able to provide temporary housing for their pets so that they don't have to surrender them to us or give them to a new home. Our other program is our Shelter Partners Transport Program. This is where we are able to give some of our shelter dogs that are at our shelter and drive them up north to shelters that don't have as much of a dog overpopulation crisis. We also have our foster program. That's where we are able to place mama dogs and mama cats with nursing babies into foster homes so the babies don't have to grow up here. It's where a lot of our orphan puppies and kittens go to. We're also trying to really build up our adult dog foster program, so dogs that have been here for a long time and are starting to get a little frustrated or depressed, they go into a foster home until they're adopted. It's a really rewarding program to be a part of. And we also have our Wolf Pack program, which is our dog enrichment program. There's lots of different activities for us to do within Wolf Pack. It's a really fun program for people of all ages. There's lots of different opportunities for you there. Going through these pictures, you're able to see all of the highlights of our volunteers here. You can see all of the different kinds of animals that we've helped and all the people and community that we generate too. So how do we do all of this? How do we help all these animals that come into us every year, and how can you as volunteers help us out with that? There's a variety of different volunteer opportunities presented on this slide. There's more than this. These are just the most common ones, so I'm going to go over them. Dog and cat socialization enrichment, that's walking dogs, training dogs, interacting with cats in the adoption rooms, playing with them, getting them mentally and physically exercised. Bathing dogs before they go to transport is another fun thing to do. There's always cleaning tasks for volunteers to help our staff out with. We have lots of off-site events where we drive our animals to PetSmart stores for big national adoption weekend events like that. Adoption counseling, you can help behind the front desk, facilitate matchmaking between adopters and their pets. Lots of paperwork is involved, and you have to have a good customer service for that. Fostering, you can always become a foster volunteer. Our fosters are huge, especially during kitten and puppy season when we get so many orphan litters of puppies and kittens surrendered to us. Fundraising, we can always do more things if we have more cash flow. So if you have a project at school where you like to fundraise money for us, or even materials, so collecting cans of dog or cat food or cat litter, we love that. And outreach and education is something that we are trying to build up to, especially with our spay and neuter program, going out into rural counties to discuss the benefits of spaying and neutering, and just making that service more well-known and accessible is everything.
When you're using a slip lead, you'll need to make sure the loop that's going to go over the dog's head is a P towards me. The loop needs to be large enough so that it can fit nicely over the dog's head. Slide it over the dog's head without your hands getting into the dog's face. If it's on correctly, the lead should loosen off. If it's on correctly, tighten the toggle just so that the lead can't loosen off so much that the dog can get out of the lead. When you're walking the dog, the safest way to hold the lead is holding it by the handle, either gripping the handle like this, or put your thumb through and wrap your fingers around the lead. If you need to shorten your lead, wrap a section of the lead up into your hand. That's the safest way to be walking a dog while you're walking them on a lead. So now with a real dog, I'm making a P towards me, over the dog's head, on the correct way, tighten the toggle, and I'm holding my lead in a safe way.
One of the most important rules about being safe here when you're interacting with dogs is to make sure that you are being honest with yourself about how much dog you can handle. So if you are 95 pounds and you want to walk a 100-pound dog, you have to stop and think, can I prevent that dog from pulling me around the parking lot? If it wants to chase a cat that it sees outside, or if it wants to go and interact with another dog, can I physically prevent that from happening? Another important thing to remember when walking dogs is to keep them separate from each other. We never want dogs to interact with each other unless you've been told otherwise by a staff member. You always want to assume that the dogs here will not get along with each other. This image is a great way to represent how people allowing dogs to meet on leash can go wrong. The smaller dog here is really intimidated by this big dog coming in and is likely to snap at it. And then when that dog snaps at it, that's when a fight could happen. So we always want dog walkers to stay 5 feet away from all other dogs. Go out of your way to make sure that this happens.
Hi, I'm Nikki Trevor and I work at Cats Protection. Today we're going to look at some behaviours of these lovely animals here, cats, and see why they're actually quite complicated and quite subtle in their behaviours, much more so than social species such as ourselves and dogs. So let's have a look at the cats and see what you think is going on. When a cat comes towards you with their tail up, usually pointing at the top, it's a sign of a greeting in cats. This is a lovely behaviour to say that usually when they're greeting you when they're coming home or they're soliciting attention. The best thing to do with these behaviours is to acknowledge their greeting and usually give them a bit of fuss, like a head rub, for example. When cats are rubbing around ourselves or other objects in the environment, usually corners of things, they're often using parts of their body like their cheeks and up here and their sides. They're actually depositing scent. Whilst it looks like a really gorgeous behaviour where they're sort of smooching these areas, it is in fact scent marking. We often see these behaviours, particularly when we first arrive home, for example, when they're rubbing around our legs. It is a greeting behaviour as well, but primarily because we smell a bit funny where we've been out and they're trying to make us smell more familiar. The slow blink is one of my favourite behaviours. This is where you slow blink at a cat, so really slowly up and closing your eyes, and in a perfect cat etiquette, just turning your head slowly to the side. This is showing the cat that you're nice and relaxed in their presence and that you're not threatening at all. And if you're really lucky, the cat will slow blink you back. When cats have got their ears flattened either to the side or back, this can be a sign of stress, that they're quite frightened. What's really important for cats that are feeling stressed and frightened is to give them a place to hide and the opportunity to get up high. You know when you return home and the cat throws itself on its side and shows you its belly? Often many people misinterpret this behaviour and think it wants its tummy rubbed. Now unfortunately, those people that will have tried this behaviour will unfortunately get their sort of grab round the hand and maybe the cat will bite them as well. That's because what this cat is really doing is showing a greeting behaviour and also that it feels relaxed in your presence. It trusts you and it's almost an abuse of that trust to go and stroke their tummy. What the cat would rather you do is just to give them a slight head rub and that's it. Lip licking can occur for a variety of different reasons. For example, if they've just had something to eat, then you'll notice them doing a really big lick. However, it can also be a sign of nausea, and in this particular cat, it's a sign of stress. So when cats are stressed, it's really important to give them a place to hide and the opportunity to get up high. Purring is one of those behaviours that's familiar to all cat owners. It often shows a cat that's content, often soliciting attention, but sometimes it can actually be a sign that the cat is in pain. I hope you've enjoyed looking at these cat behaviours and found them interesting. Hopefully when you go home today, you'll look at your cat with a whole new light and hopefully it'll improve your relationship with them as well.
So we'll need dogs to get bathed before transport happens. If that's something that you're interested in doing, you can email me and let me know, and we'll go and schedule a day and a time for our lead dog bathing volunteer to give you a really good orientation about how to help us out with this. Offsite adoption events are a way for us to increase our adoptions. We take dogs from our shelter location to different locations throughout Shelby County. Currently, we're partnering with the PetSmart in Alabaster, Hoover, and Inverness, and we also occasionally take dogs to Hollywood Feed. These events are largely held on Saturday afternoons. We're shooting for event times to always be from 11 to 1. So volunteers will be responsible for taking dogs from the shelter, driving them to these events, and then you're sent with all the adoption paperwork so that if you find a potential adopter, you're able to do the adoption there. There will always be a lead adoption counselor there with you to help you with all that adoption paperwork. This volunteer opportunity is really popular. It's a lot of fun for people to do. The biggest requirement is that you're willing and able to transport a dog from the shelter to the event and stay there for 2 hours. We find there's a lot of success in getting dogs adopted at these events, so they're really fun. We always need help with adoption counseling. It gets super, super busy here sometimes, and it can become a lot for our paid staff adoption counselors to handle all the crowds. So we always need regular adoption counseling volunteers. If you're really good at customer service and paperwork, this is the job for you. You're essentially becoming a matchmaker between pets and their adopter, so that's the fun part. If you're interested in this opportunity, please email me and let me know, and we can get you started on some specialized training with our adoption counselors on staff. Our foster program is something that I'm always going to be pushing you guys to take advantage of, and that's only because it's such a life-saving program. We get orphan litters of kittens in, like this black kitten in this picture right here, that would not be able to survive here at the shelter because it's so tiny. It needs round-the-clock care, and that's something that we can't provide for him at the shelter. So we have to send him to a foster home in order for him to grow up and get big and strong so that he can find his forever home. We have 3 different fostering programs. They vary in terms of how long that you have the animal. So our Weekend Warrior program is our short-term one. You take a dog or a cat that's been here for a long time out of the shelter for a day, up to 3 days. So it could go for a sleepover at your house, or if you've other pets that don't get along with other dogs, you can just take the dog out to the park for the day for a nice long walk. We've had a lot of Weekend Warriors end up finding forever adoptive homes for their Weekend Warrior dogs, and we found that it really helps foster confidence and socialization in some of the animals here that have been here for a long time. There's also traditional fostering. That's what I talked about before, when orphan puppies or kittens come in, or a mama dog or a mama cat. You'd foster the animal until they're ready to come back to the shelter and get adopted. Adoption ambassadoring is our longest term program. That's where you would foster an animal until an adopter is found. You'd be invited to go to those off-site events to try and find an adopter. That you'd also be tasked with marketing the animal yourself. So taking pictures of the animal, sharing it on social media, taking them for regular walks in the park, making sure all your family friends know that you have this foster animal that is looking for an adoptive home. The Safe Pet program is where we take animals that are members of households that are going through domestic violence situation. We take them and the animals into a foster home while the family tries to find a more safer, secure housing. We hate to have someone have to surrender their pet to us because they're in a domestic violence situation, so we like to try and help them out and just hold on to their dogs or cat for a little bit until they can find safe housing. This program needs a lot of foster volunteers, places where these animals can go and stay until their owner is able to take them back again. Fundraising. So if you guys own your own business, or if your school wants to put on a fundraiser for some of our pets here, we'd love to have you do that. You could just let me know your idea, and I'd forward that to our external relations manager, and we'd come up with a plan for you guys to start doing a fundraiser for us. Outreach and education. So for outreach, we really need volunteers to go out into the community with our spay and neuter coordinator to discuss the benefits of getting animals fixed, and then provide owners of pets with an easy way for them to sign up to get their animal fixed. So we'll schedule appointments that day, and we'll also make sure they know about our really financially accessible spay neuter program. So make sure that they know that they can get their dog fixed for cheap. But we find that a lot of times people don't get their animals fixed because it's too expensive at a private vet. So we want to make it known that it is a possibility for them. The education part, we're developing curriculum to go out into elementary schools to teach children how to appropriately interact with pets. We find that if children are more aware about how to interact with an animal, there's going to be a lesser chance of them getting bit or scratched or any other kind of hurt associated by an animal. So if you're a teacher and you're interested in developing curriculum for that, please email me and let me know. Wolfpack is our volunteer dog training program. This class meets every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. at the shelter. Volunteers will take dogs out and do basic obedience skills with them in one of our fenced-in areas. All dogs will be on leash. It looks a lot like a group obedience class that you might see at PetSmart. Dogs learn basic obedience skills again, like sit down, stay, shake, roll over, stuff like that. These kinds of skills help dogs get adopted because they begin to learn and understand that doing behaviors like a sit or a down pays off. And so when people come by the shelter and they're in the dog kennels and the dogs are really raring up, ready to go to try and go for a walk outside, we see that dogs that are enrolled in the Wolfpack program will instead of jumping up and barking to get attention, instead they'll sit or lay down. And that impresses adopters, and it increases the chances of the adopter taking them out for a walk outside. It also does a lot in terms of physical and mental enrichment for the dogs. So dogs that are super, super smart and physically capable really benefit from this program.